Hey everyone, before we get started, the next episode of the podcast where I interview Dave Powers of Dave's Superpowers and Objective Personality. I just recorded it. It's going to come out very soon. It's going to come out Saturday, I hope, tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. It's a really good interview. I had a lot of fun talking with Dave, and I can't wait to hear what you all think of it. So let's get right into this video titled Self-Hatred or something like that. The other day I recorded a video, a whole vlog. I even edited it, and I didn't put it online. I was like, I can't release this. And I'm glad I didn't, because since then I've worked through some things and I'm like, oh, I see things differently now. That vlog and this one is about self-hatred. I know it's a really uplifting topic. The reason I want to talk about it is because I have dealt with self-hatred for a long time. And in that unreleased video, I was like trying to figure out, why do I hate myself? And I was like, I'm blaming my parents, I'm blaming religion, I'm blaming everyone. But I didn't really blame those things that much. You know me. I was looking at it in a pretty measured way. But still, since then, all of a sudden I've realized, wait a freaking second. Self-hatred, the thoughts that go through your head, like I'm a piece of crap, and are going through all the things wrong with you. It dawned on me, it's a defense mechanism. That's really what it is at its core. It's not anything constructive really, but it's not destructive either. I mean, over time it's like a destructive pattern of thinking, but I think the way that your mind brings it up is not to be destructive at all. I think there's a state where you don't see anything bad with yourself, right? And you don't hate yourself because you're just going along happy-go-lucky. I'm, doing everything right. And then you start to get the realizations that, oh man, I'm not really as great as I thought I was. I have these issues. I have these problems that I create. And it's just like you're starting to understand. And it's funny because there's always the platitude going around of, I'm not perfect, But I don't know that everyone who says that believes it. And I think when you get to the point where you maybe still do believe it in a way, but you're just starting to see the cracks in that kind of unconscious belief, you begin to hate yourself. And what it is your mind kind of throwing up a defense, because it's like, whoa, we're seeing some bad stuff. Yeah, let's denounce this. Let's disavow this. And since you can't get away from yourself, it turns into this thing where you feel ashamed about these things, and you're like, bad me, and you feel bad about it. But ultimately, that's as far as it goes. You're like, that's bad. I'm ashamed of that. I disavow, right? I'm making myself laugh saying that. But then you don't do anything about it, and it's just like, okay, well, I hate myself. Good. I have the moral authority now because I know I'm bad. Okay, cool. Now I'm just gonna keep going on with my life, and maybe I'll still do the same things that I've been doing, the things that I hate, but I'm just gonna keep doing them because at least I hate myself now, and I don't actually have to confront those things. Much less try to improve, try to get rid of those things, and to move on to a much more, aware state of mind. Because I think once you start to pick out the things that are wrong with you, it's like a crack in a door, and you're like, oh crap, once that door gets flung open, then I'm going to see a lot more things that are going to also be bad or maybe worse. And so you just say, yeah, that's bad. Now let's walk away. Let's break the wrist, walk away. Let's not open that door all the way. And I think back to times when I've been in a pit of self-hatred and it never leads anywhere. It actually, in a way, if you're really honest, hating yourself feels pleasurable in a weird way, because it's like it's it's like pretending to do something about the things that are wrong with you, but it's not doing anything. It's also a defense mechanism, because it's like, hey, I see the bad stuff in me now. No one can say anything. Yeah, I hate myself already. You can't hate me. I've beat you to it. It's like when I try to anticipate what the commenters are going to say, and how they're going to be snarky, and then I call them out before they say it, so that I take a bit of their thunder away. Maybe it's also just getting prepared for, it's like, yeah, I know I'm bad in this way. Now at least I can brace myself for when everyone else says I'm bad, and I'll be like, yeah, I know, and then I can just ignore what they're saying. So much of who we are, what we're built on, what our brain is built on, is like, it's a bunch of BS. Like, can we get real? I'm trying not to use words like ego and all that, because that's tired. I'm not trying to go there. I'm not trying to play any word games here, but it's like, so much of what we think about what is real and about who we are, especially because it's can you see yourself? When you try to look into yourself, I think all the things that you see are either going to be not real, or they're going to be like funhouse mirror versions, but like a more pleasing funhouse mirror, like a mirror they have at the the clothing store, so you look thinner, so it can see some truths about you, but then a lot of it is just made up. What you think about yourself can often just be a fantasy based in nothing, based on what you want to be rather than what you are. Now, some of you might be like, Frank, this sounds like I should hate myself, like I should beat up on myself. It's like, it's not that. I think the judgment is the wrong thing, because I'm not even sure you should love yourself. On the other hand, it's like, what does loving yourself get you? What do you mean when you say you love yourself? There's a subject, an object there. How I'm failing to explain exactly what I mean, but I think it's their self-hatred and self-love are very connected, because they both have to do with confronting yourself, and confronting yourself is very difficult, if not impossible. Well, it's impossible depending on your mind frame. I think it is possible, but it's extremely difficult. And when you start to go down that road of introspection and saying, who am I? What is really going on? It's going to be scary, and you're just going to want to say, that's bad. This is as far as I go. I hate that. While I'm gathering my thoughts, why don't we stop for a quick commercial break?
Hey, I'm Two-Type Timmy. Check me out. I'm up here in my treehouse, selling it for only $500 a pop, man. You can just Venmo that to me. But actually, you need to Venmo it to my mom, because I'm not old enough to have Venmo. But, yeah, you can do that. Yeah, check me out.
Thanks for sitting through that. I hope my battery's going to run out soon, guys. It's like, imagine that you're in, I don't know, it's like you're in a tree house that's made out of these twigs, and you're at the top of it, and you're not looking down on it, and you're like, man, this treehouse sucks, but I'm still in it, and I'm not going to do anything about it, but man, I hate this treehouse. When what you need to do is get out of the treehouse and look at it, and then you see that it's just a bunch of sticks. And meanwhile, maybe you thought like the treehouse was part of you, and you were like, man, I hate this. I hate myself. I hate this treehouse under me, which is me. This is getting real weird talk right now. But without judgment, you need to be able to confront yourself and see what about me that I believe is not real, is just something I made up or something that needs to be improved. Where are my actual weaknesses, and not looking at it like I hate that sucks, man, I'm such a bad person, but being more like, okay, how can we fix this? How can we get some 2x4s and make this tree house better than to just say, oh man, that sucks. Or even to say, maybe I don't need the tree house. Maybe I can just think of a new way. So I guess in this analogy, the treehouse is the ego, you know? And look, I don't think you can't get away from the ego. It's going to be there forever. But what you need to do is realize it for what it is, which is all of these constructions, these mental constructions that you've made about yourself and who you are. And when you are hating yourself, you're hating these constructions that you're confusing with you, and you're avoiding actually stepping back, getting out of the treehouse and looking at it and saying, what can I do to actually not hate this anymore? What, to look at it without judgment and say, okay, what do we need to do? How can we shore this thing up? And it's like, it's not a perfect analogy because you don't want to like shore up your ego, but like, how can you build your identity into something good? How can you feel like you don't need to hate yourself anymore? Because you're kind of stuck with it. And saying that you hate it is just a really convenient way of saying, well, I don't like this. I don't like the construction of this, although you don't consciously realize it. And you're like, well, I don't even want to look to see what's wrong. I don't want to see where it needs to be fixed, because it's going to not feel good to go look at it and see, oh, look how crappy this treehouse is, and then to take it apart bit by bit and maybe like start over and replace things, put an arcade up there. Basically, if I have to sum it up, when you hate yourself, when you're in a period of self-hatred, ask, what am I really avoiding here? Like, what is the thing within me that I need to confront that I don't want to confront, that I'm trying to distance myself by saying that's hateable, and then to just let go of the hate. There's no need to hate yourself, because it doesn't help. Sometimes maybe you think, if I hate myself enough, I'll get angry and that'll spur me into action. Maybe that works for some people. It's never worked for me. And all the times that I've hated myself, I never came out at the end, with anything better than I started. And maybe it's good to get angry at yourself and be like, oh man, I'm gonna hammer in some nails to this treehouse. And you're like, I am galvanized and I'm ready to do what needs to be done. Anger at that can be good, but hatred is just this passive waste of time and energy, and it makes you simultaneously feel kind of good because you're like, ooh, I don't have to face that, but it also makes you feel on the surface really bad because you're stuck with yourself. And if you get too far into this kind of self-hatred, you're like, well, I can't stand to be with myself anymore. I can't stand to be in this treehouse. And what are you gonna do? Kill yourself? What is that? That's not really an answer. That's not gonna solve your problems. And I'm not trying to be harsh. Like, I know it's difficult when I've dealt with it too. When you're in the middle of feeling so down on yourself that you just want to separate yourself from yourself permanently. And this is taking a dark turn, but I think it will help to realize that the self-hatred is something that you can break out of by just realizing that it's trying to protect you from something that you need to confront. And once you confront it, and once you master it, get over it, fix the problem, shore up the things in your life that you need to, you're not going to hate yourself anymore. And you can just start off by saying, I'm not going to judge myself. I'm going to look at myself neutrally with a calm mind and say, okay, look, these things are bad. Let's go ahead and work on this. It might not be easy. It might not be comfortable. It won't be comfortable. It might not be pleasant at all. It might be the hardest thing I've ever done. but it's the thing to do. It's what else are you going to do except stay in one place, never fix the things, and hate yourself forever. If you had a friend who was a real mess in life and he was like, dealing with a bunch of addictions and he was being irresponsible and he was all the bad stuff. Think of all the bad stuff you hate about yourself and imagine it's your buddy. Are you going to say to your buddy, I hate you now, and you just keep living the way you're living? Or are you going to step in and be like, maybe you get angry, but you're going to step in and be like, okay, look, you need to change this, you need to drop this, we need to, because you're bringing in some objectivity to their life. They're maybe aware of the things that are wrong with them, but they don't realize how deep they are and how much they're rooted in false conceptions and illusions. So you would come into your friend's life and be like, hey, buddy, let's start working on this thing one bit at a time, and let's turn you around. You're not going to say, I hate you. You're not going to say, I wish you were dead. It's hard to be objective, and I can't say that I'm never going to deal with self-hatred again, but at least now I know, at least I can call it out for what it is, and like, oh, I see what you're doing there. In a way, I had this weird thought that came into my head. I was like, there are things within me that know I'm trying to kill them. And it's like these, and when I say things, I don't mean like, demons. I mean just like laziness, for instance, not wanting to work out. Let's pick some low-hanging fruit. That thing within me that just wants to sit around and enjoy the lazy life and doesn't want to experience the pain, I'm going to kill that thing. Like, I'm out to get it. And it doesn't want to go away. It wants to stay there because it's comfortable where it is. And so I hate myself sometimes, and I'm like, oh man, I'm so lazy. Why can't I just, pump some iron? And then I realize, oh, me hating myself is just a way of never actually confronting it. It doesn't get me anywhere. So just keep that in mind next time you have self-hating thoughts. I think it might help. And really quick, lastly, in arts and culture section, I picked up this old record at the record store, McCartney 2. The jokers at the record store put the price sticker right on it. He made this in 1980. Paul made this alone. Paul McCartney, I just assume that everyone knows by now. He made this by himself, playing all the instruments in his home studio, which I think is the mystique of this album, that it's just a guy in his home making some music. The first track, Coming Up, it's an incredible tune, and the music video is the best ever made. I'm going to link it so that you can have some joy in your life. If you're hating yourself, watch Coming Up, the music video, and you will be cured. You will feel a burden has been lifted from you. But then this album isn't that great, but there are some really stellar tracks. Temporary Secretary, it's amazing. Waterfalls is a really beautiful song. And especially at the end, One of These Days, I'd never heard this song before. It's this acoustic track. It's beautiful. It's like these beautiful harmonies and this amazing melody. I can't believe I've never heard it before. So I'll link to the Spotify below. And of course, stay tuned for the podcast with Dave's Superpowers. It's coming out soon. I hope you'll like it. I had a great time making it, and it's a pretty good one, I think. Thanks so much for watching. Give it a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more videos. Till next time, stay cool and attractive.